So I wanted to take just a second to highlight a difference, a distinction between the notion of an LMS, a learning management system, and an online course. I talk to a lot of folks regularly who are talking about building an LMS. And what they really mean is they're building either an online course or several online courses, but that still doesn't mean you're building an LMS. And I want to make that distinction because if you start using one term when you mean something different, when you talk to other people, whether it's consultants or vendors, and you're trying to pick the right software, it's easy for people to trigger on the wrong thing, right? They trigger on the term that you're using, and you're meaning something slightly different. So let's talk about this real quickly. Are you going to have elective courses and required courses? Okay, that's something that an LMS does. If you're just trying to set up a course that people can buy and watch, that's not elective and required. Are there prerequisites, right? That's something that an LMS does. You need to pass course 1 before you take course 2. If you're just saying, look, I have 4 courses, I'd love for you to buy all of them. That's not the same as an LMS. Are you going to have a pre-exam before you get to watch the course? Or are you going to have a post-course exam before you can take the next course? That's something that an LMS needs, but not an online course. Not if you're just saying, no, I want to teach someone how to play guitar. If I want to teach them how to play guitar, I want to create an online course, but no, there's no test before they get started. That would be kind of silly. I'm teaching them how to get started. Then you don't need an LMS. We start using these terms because at one point there was no software to do anything, right? And then you start doing a search for course making online and everything else, and you realize, oh wow, they're calling it it's a learning management system. Yeah, that's I guess what I'm doing. But it turns out that maybe you're overshooting, right? Maybe you're discussing. This is why when you go into looking at LMS software, you'll find things like SCORM compliance. And if you're scratching your head and you're like, what is that? And do I need it? No. It's unlikely, unless you're a university. I mean, come to chrislemmo.com and watch one of these posts. Unless you're someone doing something serious, or maybe you're building a whole corporate system and you're going to interchange content between multiple, LMSs, maybe you want some compliance and dynamics related to that, or you want the structure and the composite of the data in such a way that you can pass it between things. But trust me, if you're teaching guitar lessons or how to write, how to speak English, or how to cut men's hair, or anything else in that realm of most of the people I talk to, you're just doing an online course. And it's not just right? An online course is fantastic. This is why I recommend solutions like Lifter LMS, which does have some of those more advanced features, or WPE courseware, which does have some of those test banks and quizzes and things like that. But most of the people that use them, most of the people I talk to that are going to use them, because I'm sure they have lots of other customers, are not going to use any of those features. They're just going to end up building an online course. And so what do we mean by an online course? Well, often we're talking about the displaying of video and some attachments like PDFs and a place where people can talk or discuss comments. And do you realize what that means? It means that pretty much you can use WordPress to do all of that all day long. You can use WordPress. I have some friends who are moving on to Rainmaker doing that very thing. Rainmaker has something called an LMS. It's an early version, but you can do all of that on Rainmaker. You can do all of that on WordPress if you're just building pages. Yes, you need to create a course, but a course is not an LMS. And you may be overshooting what you need if you're walking around talking about LMSs, right? If you're the kind of organization that needs to be able to track and monitor employees and how well they're performing and whether or not they're hitting certain targets and being able to go and manipulate their requirements of their job and how it relates to training courses, you need an LMS. If all of that sounds quite foreign to what you're trying to do, maybe you're just building an online course. Hopefully with that vocabulary, it will help as you start talking to other people about what you're trying to do, and it'll help as you evaluate the plugins that are out there. Thanks.